This is the Amp Hour Podcast, released August 30th, 2021, episode 555. Timing is everything.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble, Contextual Electronics. Happy 555.
5-5.
Dave's wearing...
Represent.
Yeah, he's
Represent.
got some festive stuff on right now. Welcome.
And thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, live event.
Yep. Hopefully, I'm just checking because this is going out to EEV blog 2 as well. Oh yeah, there we go. Yep, it's there. It's
cool,
there.
cool.
So
Great. We're doing it.
the internet's works. Mm-hmm. Terrific.
One thing in my life that's actually being put together right now.
Right.
Given everything else. I was just showing right before the show. Well, I'm not going to show over here. It's it's a hot mess on the other side of the room here, but it's getting there.
This is your new lab in your new house. How many
That's right.
square footage? Because it's Yankee land.
It's Yankee land. It's 14 by 15, so whatever that is, a little bit less than 220. 15 by 15 would be 225, so yeah, another 210,
Nice.
I guess.
Which is the bedroom, and that's large. This
is
a
bonus room. This is a bonus room.
A bonus
so like
room.
When they built it out over the garage.
They threw it in.
It was used as a bedroom in the past.
Oh, okay. It's not part of the original house.
That's right. Yeah.
Add-on. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, so it's great.
Cool.
If I blow it up, no big deal.
You're right. If the lab burns down, is there a fire extinguisher in there yet?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
That's,
Okay. Cool.
One of the first things I'd say: fire extinguisher, label printer, computer, new computer monitor. One of my buddies started using a 4K TV as a monitor.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So that's like I'm sure you'll find one in the dumpster at some point, right? I mean,
I've found. Yeah. No, I've got a 4K. I've found two 4K TVs in the dumpster.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're giant. They're too big for a monitor. They're like 50 or 65 inch, you know.
Yeah, this is
50 or 60
50.
inch.
This is 43.
So I've got a 4K monitor. Here, I got 3 monitors, and one of them is a 4K monitor. It's 32 inch, but it's actually too small because if you run everything at the native 4K resolution, all the fonts are too small. Everything. I know you can do font scaling and stuff, but it doesn't work in programs that I use properly.
Yeah, my computer's having trouble keeping up, and
really
when you start to really think about it, like what it's doing, like all the lines it's got to draw and whatever, and like if the GPU isn't set right,
it's
whatever,
insane.
it's just the computer's just like, no, I can't keep up.
I can't do it,
guys.
When I was a boy.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I used to work on LCD monitored actual design back in the 90s, back in the early 90s at KeyCorp. I was in the flat screen group. I was in the flat screen monitor group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can remember we were working on 800 by 600 monitors back then, and that was kind of like leading edge kind of stuff back then. Yeah. 800 by 600.
Yep.
And back then, when you bought the actual panels themselves, they would not guarantee no dead pixels. You had to buy them, and they would say, well, you may have up to like 3 dead pixels or whatever. This was like for commercial LCD monitors.
You get
now
what you get, guys. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You should be thankful this amazing technology exists, right. You peasants.
I just think about it like, it's so part of our lives these days, like, and as technology progresses too. But when you really think about it, like, each pixel is an LED, or each pixel is or like when the DLP thing was a thing.
Is a light emitting element. Yeah, it's a little element. And then there's 3 of them.
Yeah. When DLP was like moving mirrors and like all of these things that are there. And it's just because of over time, it's been built up. It's just, it becomes this normal thing now. And I don't know. Got to stop and smell the technology roses sometimes, Dave.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have people joining us from the YouTubes and also technically Facebook as well, but I don't think anyone in the engineering community uses Facebook, do they?
Oh, we just got one comment, so
we'll
really? Be here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So if you have questions, you can ask them. It won't be live, but we'll pull some questions on the stream. Otherwise, we're just going to do our usual thing and just BS the whole time. We're fine with that too.
Yep, that's good. So. Oh, I just realized that when the comments, because we're using StreamYard for those who don't yet know, and that pulls in all the comments from all the different platforms. So we're running on our Amp Hour YouTube channel and the EEV Blog 2 channel as well. And I just realized that the comments for both of those just show up as the one thing. We don't know whether it's coming from EEV Blog 2 or the Amp Hour.
Yeah.
3.55k subscribers on our Amp Hour channel. Why isn't it 5.55k?
Well, we've
very
only started
disappointed.
doing video recently, so that's why
Right.
I think we'll see. Yeah.
Can we start with what is your first memory of the 555 timer?
Well, for
I'm
me, it's
throwing
not
the
going to be
curveball,
much.
Teddy.
Oh, you're asking
Right.
the people. Good. Yeah. For me,
Yeah.
it's like, so there was the 555 contest. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, right.
Back in the day.
When was that?
That was, I think, 2011.
2011. Jeez.
Yeah,
Okay.
10 years ago.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first year, right? When we were all excited about the podcast and doing everything. We were doing all sorts of shit.
I mean, the internet was kind of different then too. Like
Yeah,
social media wasn't
it was.
quite as big.
Yeah.
And, blogs were still a thing at that point.
Yeah, right.
You remember
text
blogs?
blogs. I was doing text blogs.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that was a lot of fun though, and some of that stuff's still online. You can still see some of it. The winner I remember was a lot of like servo action stuff there, and so that was kind of how I got interested in it. So,
There we go. Brad's. We can put up comments as well. Brad's Guitar Garage. He first learned about the 555 from the Tricky Dick kits. I didn't do the Tricky Dick kits because there wasn't a Tricky Dick store near me. I had to hop on a bus or a train to go to the nearest Tricky Dick store. And so my thing was Tandy. So I had the Tandy kits. So I had the Tandy 50
is that
and
like
1.
the budget version?
No. They were just different things.
Tandy was
They
the
were
Radio
just
Shack of
different.
Australia, right?
Radio Shack, yes.
That's right,
Yes.
yeah.
That's it. And which started out as Tandy Leather. A lot of people don't know that. Tandy Leather Corporation, or so it was, they were in that business, leather goods.
I mean,
apparently, and
that happens a lot of times though. You look at like Japanese corporations that are around for like 150 years. Like what was Toyota to start with? Like that sort of thing. They just like if a corporation's around long enough, they're gonna have a lot of divisions. So leather first, I guess.
We've got Superhouse TVs in the house.
Yeah, welcome, John.
Yep.
Former guest of the show, John Oxer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've got someone who wants to donate $5.55 per mention to charity. Yes, please. Yes, please. We don't need the money, do we, Chris?
We do not.
No. We've got our patrons provide the money for microphones and stuff to send out and all the miscellaneous costs and stuff. Yep.
So any 555 on YouTube also mentioned the Forrest Mims book. Forrest was a guest on the show back in the days. You can go back and listen to him as well. That may have been my actual first exposure to it as well.
Right.
Just kind of reading through it and
Yep.
Long-time listeners of the show know I was not a big hobbyist like Dave was. So
I can show you a relic from the archives, which I got from my bunker this morning, and I found it. I believe, I think this is my first memory of the 555 timer. I'm not, this one rings a bell anyway. So what it is, can we show that full screen, Chris?
Hold on. Yep, hold on.
Yep. 99, it's a bit how you
that's
do it.
pretty good. Yeah.
99
you still got it,
IC
though.
projects. I still got it. 99 IC projects. It's from 1982. So yeah,
With a markup on it. Look at that. $2.80.
$2.80. I did not get this because once again, I could only get what my local newsagent and my local Tandy store had. And my local newsagent didn't have the electronics. Well, it had Electronics Australia and whatnot, but it didn't have the special purpose magazines from this. I actually got this from my cousin at the time, which is the only person in the world I knew who actually did, who actually owned a multimeter, right? And he actually gave me my first digital multimeter. And I can still remember to this day, it was project number 99, which is the first one I looked at. I have a bizarre long-term memory. And project 99... There it is. Because I jumped straight to the end. Jumped straight to the end. Smart porch light. There it is.
Screenshot now, folks. Screenshot now.
And I can remember thinking, what is this magical chip? Oh, this looks so advanced. You know, I wasn't like that old, right? And yeah, I can remember thinking, oh, that's the duck's guts, right? This must be so advanced. And the
I mean, that was your
555
first project, and you were pulling right off transformers. Is that right? You were
well,
just going straight off mains.
It was like, I had the odd experience with mains. Let's put it that way. But yeah, and then there were others, and then I realized, oh, this one has 3 of them. This one's got 3. This is just, and then I of course discovered the 558. Right, the quad timer, 555 sequential timer, and yeah, I thought this was absolute like, and I didn't know what the diodes in there did and stuff like that. It was like, it was that. So that was, I believe that was the first time I ever saw a 555 because my Tandy kits didn't have a 555 in it. So
so you're saying that was basically like I believe Max is inferring here is that this was the first. This is Dave's smart doorbell.
Smart doorbell. I don't know. It
was actually IoT because the way he hooked it up, it ended up being like a spark gap generator. It flickered the lights in the house, and
I can remember that I installed a pressure sensor when I was a kid. I installed a pressure sensor at the doorway to my lab, which was my bedroom, right? And it was set off an alarm anytime somebody
classic.
Anytime
like
somebody entered my lab. Yep. So that's that was cool. 1980, yes, 1982. Wow. Could have 1984 at the moment, but anyway, Maplin. Wow, that's European.
Okay.
Hi to all our European viewers. Maplin. I don't think you guys had Maplin in the US, did you? Pretty sure it's a European
If it was, maybe it was around before
I
was. Some of these years we're talking about is before I was.
Right.
Just so we're clear.
I can remember picking up a Maplin thing from the newsagent eventually did start carrying, like the odd thing. But you had to go in there every day, every week at least. You had to go in there to try and find the new stuff. Like, there was no internet. There was no other way to find out about stuff. You had to,
was the internet,
the newsagent, you had to go into the newsagent. You'd go,
he was the packet router, as in he brought you packets of magazines.
Yep. And of course, the Talking Electronics magazine, which I've done the interview with Colin Mitchell, who's the founder of Talking Electronics magazine. And that one famously didn't have a schedule. So it didn't come out every month. So you had to go into the newsagent and just, is it there? Is it there? And it was like, oh man, when it was there, that was like, oh, it's been 3 months, shit. And then suddenly magically appears, hallelujah. Oh, Maplin. Was Mike. Mike's in the house. Maplin was former guest several times. Maplin was UK only. Right. Okay. I thought it was a bit broader than that, but there you go. Maplin shops. Yes, because you could buy all your gear from Maplin, mail order. That was right. Good question. What was the first device you designed that used a 555 that you were paid for? Oh, goodness. Oh,
I remember recommending one.
Yeah.
For something, and
recommending
Paul Rako from EDN started cussing me out for being, I think it was Paul, and he's just saying, why are you doing this with a 555? Don't use that. Use some other timer chip that he was recommending. I don't know.
No, bugger off. No, 555 all the way. I can remember that I used it in. This was a paid gig. My cousin, not the same one who gave me the magazine, another one. He was a tow truck driver. And he wanted a doodad box that converted 24 volts down to, because that was what was used on the truck or whatever, down to 12 volt converter multi-channel that would drive all the lights. And he gave me the custom connectors. It was like a trailer adapter or whatever, so multi-channel 24 volts into multi-output, and then it had to flash some lights as well, so I used a 555 in that to flash one, it had a mode on it that you could switch in a 555 timer, so I used that. But that was my first paid gig. I don't know, I was maybe 13 something, 12, 13, something like that. you know. So, yep, that was a pay. I think he gave. I think it was like I was dumb back then. I didn't think about making a profit from this. I just like charged him parts or whatever, and he said, you know, it cost me like $30 in parts or something. And you know, and he said, "Oh, give us
when you're 13, that's great. I mean, that's like,
I know exactly.
Yeah.
I was just happy to do it. You know, I was just thrilled
Better
that
than
somebody
mowing
gave me a
lawns
job
or,
to do.
Yeah.
And he said, nah, here's 50 or whatever, or 100, even 100. I can't remember what it was. And I went, oh, shit, you can make money. You can make money from doing electronics. Holy crap. Yeah. So excellent question. Thank you, W, for World Wide Web. Raker. Oh, Tony Robb's here as well. Everyone's here.
Yeah.
Do we know any books with just 555 timer circuits? Obviously, I've shown one that had. Yes, there's a 555 cookbook.
Yeah, that's another men's one, isn't it?
I'm sure there's, because they were big back in the day. Before the internet, you had cookbooks which had or like building block. Yeah, there's an IC timer cookbook, first edition. Walter Jung. Is he from LT?
Analog Devices, I believe.
Analog devices, that's it. Yeah, IC Timer Cookbook. Yeah, Walter G. Jung. Let's get a date on that. Howard W. Sams, 1978.
Yeah.
And it was copyright 1977. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, people might know Walt, too, from the Op-Amp Applications Handbook. That's one that we've definitely talked about on here before.
Oh, yeah, that's great. I've got the printed version of that. You can. I think you can just download it as a PDF, can you, these days?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's great.
Yeah. There's another book from ADI.
I think I went to see him live as well. I think he toured here. And, and that's where I got it from. I went to one of his lectures. Or is it the other Walter? There's two Walters. There's two Walters at AD, and they both write applications books. And I think, I might be mixing them up. So,
okay.
Yep.
Did you see that Analog Devices, Maxim is now officially Analog Devices? We're down another one, Dave. We've lost another chip company.
Is that latest breaking news?
It's not breaking. No, I mean, this has been in the thing for a while.
Oh, right. Maybe we covered it or something, did we?
I'm sure we have, but it is official though. So it's like, it's
too big.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big Brother is watching. Nah, let's go to.
I think what we'll start seeing is the same kind of thing, like how linear's just kind of been disappearing, just slowly but surely, just kind of no longer linear tech. It's all just analog devices. Everything's
well, hang on,
analog.
I've got to throw in the joke. You couldn't buy Maxim anyway, so it's not a loss.
Yeah, right.
1990s joke, sorry for those who don't get it. It was, Maxim were famous. This was probably before your time again, Chris. Did you get the Maxim data books? Like they used to release books, 6 monthly data books of new chips actually released in the last 6 months. And the 6 monthly release books were this thick, right? Just the chips they released in the 6 months or whatever. And it was like, and that lasted for like 4 years or something before they finally just went, no, we're just producing too many freaking chip variants. And they were like, everyone was amazed at all these chips that Maxim were pouring out. You had one for every task, but you couldn't get them. You could get great samples. They had the best sample service in the business, but geez, TI make a CMOS 555 in a 1.4 144 BGA. I wonder who uses these. I don't know, because they probably cost a ton more than an SO8, than a generic Jelly Bean SO8, right? From
I just saw
wherever.
Jeremy Hong, who's been on the show at one of the camp shows that I did, like one of the ones where I was remote.
Yep.
So Jeremy, he just posted a photo of him actually. There's like a Blinky challenge for like 0220. 0201s are smaller, maybe 01005s, and the BGA chip. And it's like a getting to Blinky, but with ultra tiny parts. It's
pain in the ass.
It's intense. Yeah, it's really intense.
You're not allowed to enter unless you own a microscope,
Yeah, right.
It's like, yep. Although back when I was a boy, before I had these things, these are only fairly recent, the glasses. Yeah, I could do that sort of thing without a microscope, but now, no chance.
We're all getting older, folks. We're all getting older.
David Ramsey was into Maplin IC catalogs. Fanboy. Oh, boy. Just a random technical question here from Little Tear. Why doesn't exist multimeters with rechargeable batteries? Because I think I've mentioned this in a video where I did a video on why they use 9-volt batteries in multimeters. And it's on my EV Blog 2 channel, maybe, or something.
Well, so are we right now, so.
Anyway, the reason that they don't do it is safety and compliance requirements. Because if you have a rechargeable battery in there, you need to recharge it somehow, right? Which means that you might recharge it via like a USB port or something like that. And if you do that, well, you've broken the case isolation. You've got an external metal part, and then that needs to be galvanically isolated from the ground terminal on the multimeter. Otherwise, it won't be able to pass the various requirements for safety that multimeters have to meet, or they don't have to. If you've got a Chinese thing that doesn't meet any requirements at all, and you just buy, it's some no-name brand thing, you don't have to. You can sell a multimeter. There's nothing illegal about selling a multimeter that doesn't meet various CAT specs or whatever. Yeah, if it does, and then you send it to a reputable agency to have it verified, then it won't pass because it has to meet these. Tektronix, back in the old day, they don't sell it anymore, but Tektronix did a rechargeable multimeter because it had an OLED display on it, and it chewed through the batteries in like 9 hours or something. It was horrible, right? It was a great multimeter, super fast. I did a review on it way back in 2009. And the way it recharged its battery is that it used the actual jacks itself. So it repurposed the jacks so you put, I think it was into the amps jack or something. So if you fed the charger into the amps jack, it'd reverse charge the battery. It was neat, right? But that's the only way that they could do it. So that's why multimeters don't have rechargeable batteries. You can do it, but it's like...
I feel like the other thing is the pricing, right? So a lot of the multimeters are not set up for pricing.
As well.
Exactly. At that point, why not just pop the back open and do that sort of thing?
No, and if you want the USB short port to recharge it, then you've got to have the isolated DC to DC converter. That increases your BOM cost no end. And, it's just, it just gets really messy. And
yeah, I mean, because these days you could just as easily, do like, Qi charging or some kind of inductive charging, right, on a pad, but why do that?
Yes, you could. You would have to do an inductive charging. I thought about doing that as a video. I thought about actually getting a multimeter and turn it into a rechargeable multimeter by having a Qi charging coil in it. I don't know.
You should probably make like a ultrasound-based beamforming kind of thing and find it anywhere. Maybe for sometime in April.
Geez, you could do that.
Maybe sometime in April.
Geez, you could get seed funding for that, and you could get you could get $20 million from.
We're doing
Mark,
all the hits
Cuban.
here today, folks. We're doing all the hits.
U-beam. I'm just waiting for the chip printer to come up. Somebody hasn't trolled us in the comments yet.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Actually, on the subject of, I was thinking about the Qi charging idea actually, and just thinking about like why you wouldn't even have that as well. Oh, there you go. Good.
Yep. Yeah, the Qi charging and why?
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about like noise variability too. Oh, that's what it was. I was thinking about like 9 volts versus like like just doing a single or double cell. Like, why not just do that? But then you have the possibility of, you might need to boost it up, and then you have that potential of noise kind of seeping in. So
yes, and something like the diode test range. If you only power it with 2 AAA or AA cells or whatever, then you've only got 3 volts max terminal voltage. And unless you boost that, your low voltage is going to be like 2.1 volts or something like that, where it cuts out, and that's where you can't even turn on LEDs, right? And that's your maximum diode test voltage, and then you don't get the full capacity of the batteries, and that's why a lot of multimeters use 3 cells, because it gives you the 4.5 volts, which then drops out at like 3 volts, and you're at least getting down to 1 volt per cell using most of the capacity, whilst still giving you the diode test range and other things required, the operational voltage required. So, totally. Big trade-off.
On the noise thing for Rails today, I was finishing up a design, and at the last minute, I had like a ground pour. It was just a 2-layer board, but I had a ground pour kind of everywhere for a 3-volt rail that I was working on, and I decided to just rip it out. It didn't seem like a good idea. I don't know if you have any thoughts on power plane pours or not on a 2-layer board. So I ended up just routing the 3-volt rail.
You do it just because I don't like wasting copper. I don't like having the
like
copper
taking
etch
it
off,
all
you
out,
know?
yeah.
It's like, I don't know, there's something offensive about
It's
it.
got to
you know?
fall out. It's got to fall out in the solution, right?
Yeah, like, I've made giant boards like this, and like for various reasons didn't have a ground plane on it or whatever, and you realize there's only a few, like the actual area of the thin traces on there is nothing. So like
All that
99%
copper's
of the
gone.
copper's
Yeah.
being etched away, and it's just, I don't know, something offensive about that. I just don't like it.
Not a fan. Not a fan. Yeah.
Very environmentally unfriendly, and I'm a bit of an environmentalist, so I just find it,
Oh yeah, yeah. Like we're etching PCBs that are
Yeah,
get
I know.
thrown out
Yeah,
eventually.
we're
but
totally
we're environmentalists,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, screw it if it gets in the way of our hobby, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I draw the line.
Yeah.
If it gets in the way, no. Oh, what we need is a gold-plated NE555 Special Edition. Would you? Hell yes, I would buy that. Oh, I've
one.
talked about this before. I've been thinking about minting an EEV blog coin, like an actual real coin, with a Dave head on it, just for kicks, and it's $1 do or something, like just for like it'd be silver, of course. If you minted like a gold one, it'd be like $2,000 worth. It'd be quite expensive. But yeah, anyway, gold plated. I don't know. You could have like a solid gold. I'm thinking like of a solid gold cast 555 timer chip. That'd be so cool. You could certainly do it. It's possible.
Or you could buy a normal one and just spray paint it.
Yeah, you could. Well, no, you could actually, no, you can't do, you got to do real gold plating. You can't
Come on,
just,
man.
no, this
I have
bullshit.
money to throw around like that. I bought a house.
Yeah, right. Yep. Challenge coin. Yes. That's a very Yankee thing, the challenge coin. It's a Yankee.
Yeah, it's a military tradition.
Yeah, it's a military tradition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. The security industry kind of adopted that too. I think it's mostly because of the drinking culture aspect of it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Do you know how that goes or no?
Yeah. Yes. If you're at a pub, what's it called over there in Yankee land? It's a pub here. Is it
A bar.
Yeah. A bar. Yeah. So if you're at a bar in the US and somebody whacks down their challenge coin, they don't have to pay for their drinks or something. Or no, if you can't present your coin. If somebody lays down their coin and you can't present yours, you have to pay for their beer. That's
among other things. It's not just
among
that,
other things. Yeah.
But that is one popular use case, and that's why I think the security industry got into that.
Yes, Mikey's very right. Yes, they do for very high volumes. They're not on the prototype. Most people don't do high volume stuff, so they'll never know little tidbits like this, that yes, high volumes, they will charge more for less copper because they have to etch it away, and it takes longer in the process as well.
Sure.
And they have to go through their volume. It's not like they don't.
They got a spreadsheet somewhere, right?
Yeah, they've got to
sort of thing.
refill their chemical etchant every time it gets saturated with the copper. Like you can't just it doesn't just magically last forever. They've got to refresh their copper. Once it's saturated with X amount of copper in there, they've got to refresh it, and that costs money.
Yeah, totally.
Shock horror, chemicals. But you don't know that if you're small to medium volume. But yeah, on the high volume stuff, absolutely. That's why single-sided boards are still a thing, right? You open any modern TV or any modern consumer appliance, single-sided PCB for the power supply because it's cheaper. They save 10 cents or something on the board. It's cheaper. So, yep, you betcha. Actually, it's probably even more than 10 cents, It's like probably $1 or something, If you can save that cost, yeah, why not? We should have a fab run an EV blog chip. Well, you can do that nowadays, can't you?
That's right.
We've
Yeah,
had
the
them on
Zero to
the
ASIC
Amp Hour.
program.
Yep.
Yeah, Matt Venn is running a class, and they'll teach you how to do it. And then I think they're doing a run. There's the Google Shuttle Run thing. There's the we had Mohammed Kasaman from eFabless, and they're working with OpenLane. I should get some of these things. So yeah, there are many more opportunities to do chips these days than there had been, and there's also classes on top of it. So if you're interested in that stuff, definitely check out Matt Venn's class. It's supposed to be really great. So
Excellent.
Go check that out.
Yep. I don't know about how they recover or what they do with that copper. Yeah, because copper's worth money, right?
Sure. I think it probably got to fall out of solution or something, right?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Yep. Something happens, right? I don't know if
Something
anyone
happens.
knows if magic happens. If anyone actually works in a PCB fab, we now have an actual PCB fab here in Australia, a bare board PCB fab. Because sorry for you New Zealanders, we always steal your stuff, but Circuit Labs in New Zealand is now in Australia. They got bought out, and as part of the deal, they moved to here. They moved here. So I'm not sure where or whatever, because, it was during the whole COVID thing, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, Circuit Labs, they've announced that they moved to Australia. So yeah, cool. So once all that's up and running, I haven't been notified yet, but I think it's still in process. But yep. One fab in our entire country that you can get bare boards by. Well, no, technically there's two, but the other one, Lintech, I think. Lintech, they only make like really ultra high-end 50-layer boards. Like, you can't go to them. You wouldn't go to them for just, I don't think they won't get out of bed for anything under $1,000, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
I feel like a lot of these countries too,
quote.
like, Australia is not alone in having a defense industry. And I think that a lot of countries want to have in-country capabilities so that they can lock down secrets, whatever.
Yes, they do. That's the only reason Lintech still exists here is the military contracts. Yeah, I guarantee it, because we used them, and when I was working on that sort of stuff, and we would pay thousands of dollars for one board. Like that's nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
That was nothing.
Yeah, and it's gonna price you out. I mean, if you're like, oh, I'm gonna support locally, like it's a great thought, but it's probably from a practical perspective, probably not going to do it. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, the same thing happened with DoD here. So they just announced in the U.S. the DoD is picked Intel, and it's like, all right, well, you had like 2 or 3 choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's like Intel or Microchip, or I think that's about it. Who else is making chips in the U.S. anymore?
It depends on what node they want to do. Depends on what.
Yeah, exactly. I think, but they're talking about like leading edge type stuff as well.
Okay.
So it's basically Intel or TSMC. Those are pretty much your choices. And so so that's those are the choices there.
Yep. Any chance of doing a amp hour with Rod Elliott? Yes, I certainly could.
I don't know who Rod Elliott is. Sorry.
My audio guru here in Australia. I've done a video interview with him at a trade show, and he's one of the. His webpage. If you want anything analog, anything audio, wow, he's go to Elliott Sound Products. Elliott Sound Products website, Sound AU. Oh, is he changed it? I think he might have. He might have changed it. I'm posting a link. Can we post links here? Yep, we can. There you go. Well, we should be able to, because we're the host. So yes, and that has he has like the best in-depth projects, like just absolutely stunning, and audio tutorials and stuff like that. There's just incredible, absolutely incredible. Yes, Rod actually contacted me. Oh, it was actually pre-COVID that we should probably do something together, and. Yeah, I was like going to go over there and interview him like in his lab. Like we're maybe going to do like maybe a whiteboard thing or something like that, perhaps. Yeah, something like that, because he's here in Sydney somewhere.
Yeah.
So we can have him on the amp hour for sure. I'll tee that one up after this. But it's just crazy. He's got a crazy amount of projects in there, all with like theory of operation and everything. Like. It's not just, here's a schematic in a PCB. No, he goes in depth on everything. Yep. It's just, absolutely amazing. So, highly regarded website.
Speaking of in depth and educational stuff, we do have some sad news. Past guest of the show.
Oh, yes, Henry Ott.
Passed away a couple days ago. Oh, a while ago, rather.
Damn.
Sorry, in May.
RIP, Henry Ott.
Yeah. So, someone had found this and posted this on the subreddit. Thank you for that. But Henry is a wonderful EMC expert, and so I definitely recommend people go and check that out. Not only, he's got some stuff on his website that you can go and check out, whatever. We also did an interview with him, and so that's sad to hear. I mean,
it is 36. That puts him at 86.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a pretty good innings.
Sure. Yep.
Well done, Henry. Legend.
Yeah, total legend. Yeah.
Yep. highly recommend his book.
Yeah, and we were talking about that a little bit last time about like some signal integrity stuff as well.
AVE. I'll try and get AVE on the amp hour. What do you think?
I don't think we're going to get any video. We'll just get some hands.
I don't think we'll understand what he's saying either. we'll need a translator on the. Yeah. Why do so many people prefer the inaccurate reproduction of tubes and coloured sound in general? It's the warm fuzzies. People like the warm fuzzies, you know. So, I don't know. If that's what you like, fine. Just don't try and sell it as, you know, as like absolute perfection. Well, you know, you can sell it as what it sounds like, but don't, you know, the audiophile stuff. The good thing is that the tubes and colour stuff, they're like the audiophiles make no. Even the audiophiles don't try and say, well, tubes are the most purest sound. No, you know, even they admit that that's bullshit. You know, they go, no, it's got distortion, and that's how I like it, and that's, you know, how it should be. Damn it, when you're playing LPs or whatever, you know, that's fine.
Yeah, we did have someone was doing a preamp for phono preamp on here. I'll look him up, but but he talked about that because he was doing simulation and basically reproduction using an STM32 DSP.
Oh, right.
And so, yeah.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the interesting thing is, like when now you're selling into a crowd that wants, you know, all these crunchy sounds or whatever. It's Shannon Parks from Parks Audio. And so, you know, when you're selling into this crowd, it's like you have a bunch of preconceived notions as well. And then it's like,
yep.
Well, when you start to do a side-by-side comparison and maybe you can offer a cheaper, better option, you know, there's room. And this is where audio usually falls off for me. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's not for me. I don't think that's going to be
my audio care factor's pretty low.
Yeah.
Although I do take care with what studio monitors I use for the flat, but I want like perfect flatness, you know, and stuff like that. But I know like I should be replaying my videos on, or actually editing my videos on, you know, Yamaha NS10s or whatever, you know, that sound sort of dodgy. People don't know this, that these recording studios, right? They use Yamaha NS10 monitors, which have been around since the bloody 60s or something, and these are shit speakers. These are, like, really, these NS10 speakers, they are, like, as far as studio monitors go, they're actually completely and utterly shit. They're not flat, they're, like, horrible, like, you know, they have no advanced technology in them to give you a flat response or whatever, but the reason that they use them in all the recording studios around the world is because it's the de facto standard, and it's closer to what like the home user would use. You know, you could have, you know, $50,000 studio monitor speakers, perfectly flat, engineered to, you know, for your particular space and studio, so it's absolutely perfect. And if you mix your audio using that, then often it can sound shit on people's earbuds and stuff like that, or people's, you know, little boombox or whatever, you know, so, or home stereo. So they often have shittier speakers. The single cone audio tones are one of them. The audio tone make these little cubes, and they're just a single wide range speaker, right? And they're often used in studios as well to give you like a more like down to earth what this thing will sound like on users' gear. And that's what they have to mix for. You can't just use these perfect sounding studio monitors. It doesn't work. Yeah. So, Yep. Yamaha NS10s. Uh-oh. +1 for Mrs. Evie Lock and Mrs. Gamble. They want the guests on the amp hour. Oh, boy.
That's not happening, guys.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I don't know. What's Mrs. Evie Log going to talk about? Environmental science? She's an environmental scientist. She could talk all day about, you know, sewage systems, I guess. So we can do an entire episode on sewage or water quality or something. Yep. Yes, the NS10s originally sold as hi-fi, but they didn't sell well. And then they became somebody in some studio in the US, I can't remember exactly which one, first used them. And then, you know, back in the 60s or something, and then they, you know, when other people came around to the studio, whoa, what speakers are you using? They sound really, you know, smoking their joints as you did in the 60s or whatever, saying, oh, that sounds trippy. So everyone ended up getting their NS10s in every studio around the world. So, yeah, there you go. All right. Yes, that's the difference between mixing and mastering. Mastering is all about what it will sound like for the end user. Yes, it's a multi-step process in the studio, apparently. Auratone, thank you. Auratone, not audio tone. Auratone. The little cube things. You can still buy them used for like $1,000 or something, because they don't make them anymore. So they're highly sought after. Congrats on the 555 show. Started to learn programming AVR about a month ago, and this newbie. And this PCB shaker is my first project. I'm finishing the schematic right now. Excellent. I hope it doesn't work. I genuinely hope it doesn't work and you have to troubleshoot it. Seriously, I've done, I'm sure Chris would agree. Would you not, Chris? The best way to learn
totally
is to troubleshoot. Is when if things work first time, okay, you've learned how to solder and,
Let's get some guardrails in place though. Right.
Right. So, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Before we get abuse and hate mail.
Well, no. I treated myself to a reducing a board spin today. So I had this case here. And,
yes, you mentioned this on Twitter. Yeah.
I tweeted about this. Yeah. So I for some reason they got these catch things. They're like, I guess they're like separators. They're to put in PCBs vertically. Division.
You'll find that they're 1.6 mil wide. So PCB, that's a standard PCB thickness that fits in vertical. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what they're for.
That's really good to know. I always wondered because, it's actually really frustrating. If you don't find the right files, then what you have to do is they just give you like the pure. You can go and get the drawing right for the actual outline. You get the DXF. And then you have to basically I take it into like Fusion.
You've got to import it into. If you use Altium, that can you can import it and it does 3D CAD checking.
Will it actually shrink it? So that's the thing. So it'll import the outline here. But I don't want the outline. I want a little bit less. I want an offset of that outline. And so that's what I'm usually doing, is I'm taking it down by a millimeter or so.
Oh, okay. You shrink it. Okay, no, you normally
I want
have
it to
do that
definitely
manually.
fit.
Right, okay. No, I don't. Somebody in the comments, please let us know. I don't know. Maybe the latest Altium might have this, but I doubt it. Is that, yes, bring in that and say, right,
it would be nice
box,
to just have like a macro.
Board fit. There should be a make board fit option. And it just cuts it down by half a millimeter.
Half a millimeter or a millimeter. Like I do a millimeter just to really be sure, but that's
a great feature. Yeah.
Yeah. I do that in Fusion, but then there's, always some weirdness there and you got to re-export it, whatever. Looks like Mike's saying that some of Hammond's data sheets re-export. These days, especially for this case, this one, I don't know, I forget who's making this thing. Bud Industries. You can buy this on on Amazon too. So I found it on like 4 different distributor sites and Amazon.
Can
you tell I've been burned much recently, Dave? Can you tell that I'm feeling the pain of the shortage? Yeah. Yeah. So Wiley's asking about the offset. That is what I did here. So if you're using a DXF for the outline, you could import it to another CAD tool and offset it. That is what I did. So I imported it into Fusion. I don't use Fusion Electronics. I use KiCad. People that are new here, I guess, would know that. But so
Chris
then I
re-exported. Tad obsessed with KiCad.
Yeah.
KiCad, not KiCad. KiCad.
Yeah.
So your new house has noise problems, Chris.
It does. Yeah.
Cars going past.
Couple of. What it really is just you're not used to you don't hear all of the noise that used to be at the old place, and now anything that comes through, it's like, oh, what's that? Yeah.
You need some soundproofs. Is that because the window's open, or is that just coming through the walls? And
that's just it's just not a condo building anymore. I used to be like up on a top floor of the condo, so now I'm right at the loud butt heads level.
But you're in the middle of suburbia though.
Some loud butt heads drive through suburbia pretty fast
with their F-150 pickup, right? and their gun rack on the back.
It's actually the same guy, and I think it's actually a Camaro. Like the Camaro type.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone lives on your street. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Speaking of cars, my buddy bought a Chevy Bolt. Not a
Oh,
Volt.
the recall. He doesn't own it anymore. It's been recalled.
Well, he does though. I mean, that's not
he's got to send it back.
Yeah. Well, you really recall in that case is just a I think it's to take it in. It's like a free service kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Usually
It's not like
yeah,
it's not like a trade in for a new car thing.
no. So are they swapping the whole pack, or is it some sort of cell
I think
fix,
it's the
or
whole
is
pack.
it's a whole
Yeah,
pack
I think
swap?
so.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't
what,
get all the
believe,
details, so yeah.
Yep, that's what's going to happen to mine. I'm waiting for the recall notice. I do believe all the Ionic cars sold here and around the world, I think all of them around the world, are being recalled as well.
Do you think the car manufacturers have like insurance for this sort of thing? Like I carry insurance for like if I make a mistake as a design engineer.
It's being paid for by LG.
Oh, really?
LG's paying for it, or 70% of it, or something.
Wow.
I think in the case of the Hyundai recall, I think LG are paying 70% or something of the recall cost.
Because it's the battery specifically, it's not like a charging circuit.
It's the battery. No, it's not the charging circuit. It's the cells. But like, there's only like 8 of them around the world that have actually caught on fire. But still, like, a lot of people like to make the claim that more petrol cars catch on fire. Yeah, but they're usually the old ones. They're almost always the old ones. I know there is a recent case where, is it Ford? Some new car, some model of new car, ICE car, internal combustion engine car, is actually blowing up, is actually catching on fire at a similar rate to EVs or something. But yeah, that's the thing with EVs. This is happening to new cars, like brand new cars, just sitting there doing nothing. Whereas the internal combustion engine cars, usually it's not going to catch on fire if it's just sitting there, right, doing nothing. If it's just sitting in your garage, right? That's why they catch on fire on the road or whatever.
Yep.
That's how it usually happens. So, and they're usually old cars that it happens to. So it's not an equivalent thing. So I hate seeing that comparison. I really do. I think it is more of a problem with EVs. When you've got that much energy density, these things, people think, we can, this battery technology will magically increase the capacity of batteries tenfold. Hello, McFly. Well, that would have more energy density than TNT, I think. Like, seriously, like where the current lithium battery technology is on the edge of being an explosive. Like, there's so much energy in per square unit volume that you can't just increase it 10 times. It's just, it's not going to happen, right? Yeah. So you need to change the entire technology to make it non-exothermic or but still the energy's in X square volume. I mean, it's going to continue to be a problem. So unfortunately, yes, you cannot beat the laws of physics, Captain. Energy density per square meter.
Right. Well, I mean, gasoline is very dense, but it's also not as it's very well understood now, I think, as well. I think that's another thing.
Yes, it's very well. Yeah. And it's easier to handle and contain a physical liquid than it is to, batteries are complex. Manufacturing batteries is complex, and if any small thing goes wrong, you've got X amount of square area to go wrong in a cell. Because if you have a puncture through or whatever, or if you have some manufacturing defect or whatever, then, it's a big problem. I think the Tesla battery fire in Melbourne is out. Well, I assume it is. I assume it's out. I've done a video on that.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah? You didn't hear about that?
No.
Oh, I've done a video on it. The Tesla Morable fire. It's one of Tesla's... It's a big farm. It's a giant Tesla battery farm. The biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. It caught on fire.
This isn't the one that was meant to, like, supplement the grid, was it?
Yes.
Oh, that set on fire. I remember when that went out. I remember when they were like so proud of themselves for like spinning up this thing that like when they couldn't fix the power for a while.
Well, they did. This is the second giant one here. This is the first one's still working fine. It's paid for itself and it's doing great. But the second one they installed here, which is even bigger, it caught on fire. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yep. And they had just turned it on and started charging it. It was like 4 hours after they started charging it, and it caught on fire. So, oops.
Yep.
Someone's going to pay for that.
So Simon asks if we've watched Physics Girl's hydrogen series. I love Physics Girl's channel. She has a fantastic channel. I have not gotten to the hydrogen series yet. I've seen
parts of her video on the hydrogen series. I think some people are criticizing her for that because it's sponsored. I think because they or whatever. I think. Don't quote me, but they she spent like a week driving around the country in this hydrogen car, which they gave it to you. So
I don't really understand the logistics of it all because it's like,
oh no, it's never going to work. I did like this is another prediction I'm sure I've made on the Amp Hour before, and I'm sure I'll be
probably, I
correct.
think you have,
Hydrogen cars will not be a thing. Okay, they're just no. There's nothing going for it. It might work in some niche for trucks or something, maybe, but no, it won't work mainstream because it doesn't solve anything, right? If you have to go to the gas station for you Yanks, right?
petrol
Station here. Petrol. If you or servo, if you have to go to the servo to fill up your hydrogen-powered car, what's the advantage? The advantage of as an EV owner, I can tell you what the advantage of EVs is. I never have to go anywhere to charge it. I come home at the end of the day and I just plug it into the trickle charge power point, and it recharges overnight during, and covers, unless you're like a traveling salesperson and you're doing 500 miles a day or something, then it'd be different.
But the downside of that is the I think people like immediately jump to the long haul type stuff, right? And the logistics of that.
Oh yeah, they immediately criticize that, and then they immediately say, well, I live in a unit and I don't even have a car space. Well, okay, well, EVs currently aren't a thing for you then, currently, right? Unless the infrastructure's in place. But like hydrogen, yes, they are talking about and they have trialed them, these hydrogen storage tanks at home, right? But really? Do you want to have a hydrogen storage tank strapped to the side of your house and then have the hydrogen man come around every week or every month and refill your hydrogen tank on the side of your house from the big hydrogen tanker truck? Bullshit, right? It's like, oh no, you can actually produce it, but then you know how much energy you need to actually produce hydrogen? It's like,
yeah, and I feel like the storage is still the big part there. Is like, you need to like super cooled storage to
cold storage. It's like, and a super high pressure storage. It's like, come on, no, it's not going to be a thing. EVs, everyone who has a house has the ability and to park their car in their house has the ability to charge their car up without any new infrastructure. Plug it into the power point. No, there's just no contest. It's not going to, I can safely say hydrogen-powered cars are going to be a complete and epic failure.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've been talking about fuel cells for a while already, so yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Another Dave prediction.
I can tell you this, my next car is an EV, and, I am not an early adopter, so.
Right.
Yeah. I have a garage now.
I should have got one a long time ago, but,
Yeah.
But then I ended up getting one for almost free. The government paid for it.
There you go.
Well, government, me, the taxpayer, paid for it.
Yeah,
so,
it's a loop.
Yeah.
It's a loop back.
Oh, someone says propane or winter bunker fuel deliveries. We're kind of used to it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like there is infrastructure. So, like right. I used to have family that was living out in the boonies, and so you don't have natural gas being piped to your house, and electricity is still super expensive as a heating solution, and so you'd have propane being delivered by truck, and then you have like just a tank sitting outside. However, those tanks were mostly inert. I mean, they're just big metal tanks, and you just like you turn on the valve and it comes in the house and whatever. There's no like I mean, maybe there's monitoring for flow rate, but it's not like there's nothing fancy about that. Whereas I imagine hydrogen, there would.
Yeah. No
especially like and that again, that's in the country, right? There's like setback requirements too of like, oh, your tank is not going to be right next to your house, it's not attached to your house. And if you really want to be making like changes like this, you'd start to have like on the side of the house. I think about the density of Dave's neighborhood, and it's like you're not just blowing up your house anymore, you're blowing up your neighbor's
house, right?
So energy.
No, that's why I'm actually, I'm considering home storage, right? I'm just trying to work out the numbers and stuff like that. I'm actually considering not to use lithium-ion storage because it's exothermic, right? I don't having the idea of having this strapped to the side of my house or inside the house or whatever is like, I know the odds of it happening, but the fact that it can happen kind of like goes, well, no, why don't I use like a flow battery? Why don't I choose like a flow battery or some other technology that's not going to blow up? That's not going to catch on fire and burn down my house,
That's good.
But then again, I've already got the EV in my garage, so if that catches on fire, it's the fire alarm's going off, right?
I guess the first thing is to have a really good connected fire alarm or something, right?
It's
or
right.
just
Yeah.
Do you have a connected smoke alarm?
We don't have a connected fire alarm. No, we've got independent alarm. Just like
Standalone.
standalone
Beep, beep, beep type.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beepy beep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we do have one in the garage, so that'll go off. And I'd like to think if in the middle of the night the fire alarm in the garage went off, we'd probably hear it. Or at least she would hear it. I probably wouldn't, but
A past guest of the show, I won't say who it was, but a past guest of the show had doorbell footage. He had like a Nest camera on his doorbell, and he has footage of the batteries he was charging in his garage burned down his entire garage. He had internal footage, and he had external footage, and you just saw the whole thing go up. And, it's rough.
Yep.
It's rough.
Yep.
It's But it was also safe, right? I mean, like that was the other thing. Like, so he had this footage, and also, like his family was safe. All that was important. So yeah.
Yes. LifePo, leaving polymer.
LifePO. LifePO.
Yes. Yeah, you can get those for home storage as well. And yes, they are not exothermic. So I do believe they are safer. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's an Australian company that does flow batteries though. So I don't know, I might.
What is a flow battery? I don't know what that is.
A flow battery is a chemical. It's like a pumped chemical system, hence flow. You've got to have a flow of chemicals. Oh God, I can't remember the exact chemicals now, but anyway.
I hear chemicals are bad and I shouldn't eat them or be around them. So if you could just make me feel safer about chemicals.
All right.
Dave, there's chemicals in my water.
I don't think they're acidic or anything. I think if they are actually leaked out, it's not.
Right, they're not solid state. They're not some molten sodium or anything crazy like that. It's probably like
vanadium,
a wet cell.
Yeah. Red flow zinc bromide. I thought it was bromide. I knew that. And I thought no. Well, is it? Yeah. Actually, bromide's a fire retardant. So bromide is a chemical. I believe it's a chemical fire retardant. So it literally can't catch on fire. I think. Don't quote me on that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had asked you about, I think maybe on the show, but we talked about it otherwise too. And I did talk to my buddy who's a solar salesperson. One of my childhood friends is a solar salesperson, and he took a look at my new place. He's like,
don't do it.
I think we talked about that sun tool. The sun.
Yes, yeah, there's a Google sun. It only works in the US, but yeah, it'll map how much energy, square area your roof is and tell you how much your solar energy, and it'll show shading for trees, shading of trees, because it has sort of like a 3D
sun
model.
Tracker, something like that.
I don't know, you did send me the link.
Yeah.
But yeah. And
like
I've seen the roof of your house, and once I immediately saw that and went, nah, don't even bother installing solar.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, you've got like 10 angled things.
Yeah, what my buddy said, he's like, well, Chris, that's right. He's like, Chris, solar panels are square and your roof is
it's
not.
triangular. Your roof's got like 10 triangles on it.
Pentagrams or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and not so much.
You could put a couple on there, but no. I had a 3 kilowatt system with 12 panels. Obviously, 12 would be more now because they're on 250 watts. But even that is not nearly enough to power my house. So it's like, no, you've got to have like 20 plus panels or something before you even start getting serious for solar. So
someone corrected us after we were talking about this. It was a couple shows ago we were talking about this.
Of course they did, because we're always wrong.
Yeah, well, no. They were correcting. Not correcting. They were clarifying, because you had said Mrs. EEV blog runs the aircon.
Yep.
And I was thinking about it, and I was really confused. I think it was on Twitter. And do you call it a heater as well? Is that also the aircon? If it's like heating or cooling?
Yes, it's still
that was
the
very
aircon.
confusing to me. Yeah, because I was like, it's winter there. No, that makes so much more sense
It's still
now.
the aircon. No, we don't have the same heating solutions that you guys do. And there's almost practically no house in Australia that has,
they're all heat pumps, right?
Heat pumps through the walls of the apartment building.
No,
or
you
something.
have heat pumps. We have
HVAC.
HVAC.
Sorry. Yes,
right.
you have.
So I have
right.
Right, forced air, central HVAC kind of thing.
Yep.
So it's like,
no, we just have a reverse cycle aircon that heats up.
Yeah.
So that's why we still call it an aircon, Yeah,
I mean, air conditioner, it makes sense.
Yep.
It's just that's the only way that we talk about the cooling system here. So that's what.
Although having said that, in some mountains regions, they do have like central gas heating. So you have like floor vents, and it'll be a central gas heating thing or something. But no, in most of Australia, no, it gets pretty warm here. So no, heating's not a thing here generally. So Yep.
Wiley was asking if I live in a dome because I said I had a very oddly shaped
Like
roof.
a buckyball.
Yeah.
Buckyballs
But
are all the rage in the was it the 80s?
the
Buckyballs
70s.
when
Yeah,
they
yeah.
discovered the buckyball. It was all
I
it was going to revolutionize everything. Buckyballs was going to revolutionize our entire
What's his name?
lives.
Buckington Fuller? No, something Fuller,
I
right?
don't know.
Yeah,
I
he had
don't-
a
I don't
house
know.
actually
Yeah.
from my old place in Ohio. There was actually one of his early creations. Is it Buckingham something? I thought it was. I know it was Bucky, so Buckingham. I thought
Right.
it, but yeah, he did like the house of the future, and yeah, people are gonna go nuts about
Yep,
this.
that was.
Buckminster, that's it. How do I not know that? Buckminster Fuller. Yeah. So
I've done a video on looking through old books beyond 2000. They were called books 1, 2, and 3. It was a TV show in the 80s, what life would be like beyond 2000. And I've done a video looking through those books, and it's just hilarious to see like some of the things that we thought we were going to actually predict, and that were going to be big, and it's like yeah,
hey man,
nah.
they got the video phone right. They got the video phone right.
Nobody predicted the smartphone. Absolutely nobody.
No, there was that.
It's
I mean,
like,
well,
no,
depends what
not as it is. No, it
Not
was
as it
like,
is.
no,
You're right.
no.
Yeah, I mean, I think the closest would be Star Trek, right, with the communicator, right? Like the flip up.
Oh. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but sure. I'm trying to find the video to link it in, but it's not there.
What video?
Oh yeah,
Of the 2000?
has
2000
the
and,
future.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't put Beyond 2000 in the title. Has the future arrived yet? Part 1.
I see.
So here we go. I will link it for those playing along at home, because we do have people playing along at home today. Nikola Tesla. Oh, Tesla fanboy in the house predicted the smartphone.
Remco.
Yeah, okay. Arthur C. Clarke. No, the greatest prediction ever, and it wasn't even a prediction. It was a demo. It's called the mother of all demos. Look it up. The mother of all. Douglas Engelhart. Engelbart. Douglas Engelbart, I think. The mother of all demos.
But what year was it?
60s.
Okay.
Douglas
Era.
Engelhart, mother of all demos. Engelhard. No, it's Engelbart. Yes, I was right. The mother of all demos. Look it up. Check it. Google the mother of all. Anyway, don't quote me on this, but what he demonstrated, he actually physically, this was technology they were demonstrating in the 60s. He demonstrated graphical user interfaces on a computer, hypertext, right? So hypertext markup language, basically, teleconferencing, like as in Zoom calls. They actually did this live in the 60s as a demo. The mouse, they actually demoed the mouse.
This is Xerox PARC then, right?
This is Xerox PARC. Douglas Engelbart at the
I've seen
Xerox
that
PARC.
before.
It's the
Yeah,
mother of
that image came up
yeah.
on Twitter the other day too, and
Yep,
like the mouse
mother
too.
of
It
all
looks
demos.
it's
Yeah,
rough. Yeah, but
it's rough as guts. But
you're right.
all this stuff that's modern, that we use all of it, like word processing and GUI interfaces and the whole, email, everything. This was all done in a demo in the 60s called the mother of all demos.
What's interesting? So I was having a chat with my buddies about this the other day too, just thinking about like as an electronics designer, the other type of things that we do these days, and so like if you're in the 60s and you're like, well, you're gonna look up your own things, and then be like, well, but I have a research assistant. Or you're going to type
Right.
up your own things on your computer, right? You're going to have a word processing. Well, but I have a secretary. Or you're going to have a graphical user interface so you can interact with your computer. It's like, yeah, but I could sit in a meeting with someone, and it's just like how compressed everything has gotten in terms of like just the work labor force and stuff like that. We were really complaining about like all of the things that we had to do and all of the tasks that were out there, and just kind of like the efficiency gains that happened. They happened because technology plus also expectations and bottom lines, whatever. But like, that's when it's really crazy. I feel like having that kind of vision up front, while you're in and amongst all of these other things, all of these other normal things that are happening around you, right? He was making that prediction when his secretary was typing something up and is, like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of these things that were happening, it's just that's when it gets really hard. When you're inside a system like that, it's really hard to break out and do the prediction of the future stuff. But to be fair, also Xerox was making some of that future stuff anyways, right? They were inventing it in the first place.
It was absolutely incredible, but it didn't go anywhere for 20, 30 years. It's just like they demoed all this. They actually had it working, and it was a thing. It's just wasn't commercially viable, unfortunately. So, yep. Oh, he passed away in 2013 at the age of 88. There you go, Douglas Engelbart. Yep, legend, mother of all demos. I have no idea what that means. Anyone? Bueller? Chris is frozen. Oh, stream's frozen. Chris is frozen. Am I still live, everyone? Can anyone hear me? Let's have a look. You are still live? Yes, I'm still live. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, John Oxer says I'm still live. Yep. You're fine. Yep, I'm good. And no, yep, Chris has left the chat. All right, so I'm going to have to anchor this one. No whackers. Audio is good, no drops. Yep. Chris, he's obviously got a dodgy internet connection in his new home. I told him that was the number one requirement for the new home. I'm still live. I have my suspicions. Yep, I may be dead. You never know. I could be a sim bot. So anyway, back to questions. Because we don't have anything planned for the show, so, we're just doing... we're way past our amp hour anyway, but who cares? And it's not like I have a real day job to go back to. But if you do want to know, I am actually working on a reverse engineering video at the moment. So, which is reverse engineering the Mixig DP10007 probe. So, and what? Dave, can you explain your role at Altium? Altium produces software, but why was their hardware design in-house real-world software testing? Are they still partly based in Australia? Good question, Ian. How long? It might take another hour to do this. Right, I joined Altium in... Oh boy, I've been away from Altium for 10 years. I was there for 4, I think. So, 2009, was it? No, I left in 2011. I left in 2011. So 2007, I joined Altium. And yes, they started up a hardware group because, in fact, the first person they hired was my former colleague at Sercel, at Tallies/Sercel, that I was working at the time, and Steve Howell. And so he was the first hire for the hardware group, and then the second hire, they practically poached everyone from Tallies/Altium. Okay, the second hire was my mate Jeff Engel, and he was also from Sercel Tallies at the time. Oh, Chris is back. All right, I'll continue. He's back. Is that
no, please go.
Dodgy house you've got there, dodgy internet connection.
Yeah, man, I got fiber. That I'll tell you about that afterwards.
Yankee fiber. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fiber,
so they joined. So he was the second one to join the hardware group, and then he said, "Oh, Dave, you should come over to Altium. We're working on this hardware shit." And so I went to interview at Altium by with Nick Martin, the founder himself, and he liked me, so I was in like Flynn. And so they poached 3 people from, which was almost the entire hardware, at the time was the entire hardware group. They poached from Sercel Altium. So we were all former colleagues working on the same stuff. So we just all moved to Altium. And then we hired a Faming, who was our Chinese guy. He was Chinese, could speak Mandarin, so very handy. Trust me, it's very handy to have someone who speaks Mandarin and can get on, what was the chat thing at the time that you chat to, don't know if it's still a thing, but
QQ.
QQ
WeChat.
Or whatever, WeChat or whatever. I think it was QQ at the time.
Probably not WeChat.
Or whatever.
Yeah, QQ sounds right.
QQ or something. So he can get in there and chat to all the, all the distributors, and he handled interfacing with Chinese suppliers and manufacturers and stuff like that. So that was very handy to have him on board. And, just parts sourcing and things like that. So that was the 4 of us in the hardware group at Altium. And our job was, our kind of main role was to design the nano board hardware. No, I don't have one here. It's down in my storage bunker. Anyway, the first NB2, the nano board NB2. Here we go.
You can share your screen there if you want.
No, don't share my screen. No, I'll just. Oh well, yeah. Okay, you can share my screen. I can share my screen now. So nano board NB2. This bad boy here. Are we sharing?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, hang on. Oh, I have to do it, do I? Yes.
You do. Yeah. Yeah.
All
So
right.
that I can't just take control of your computer.
I thought you could. I thought you were in charge. Okay, so if I go like that, hang on. No.
There it goes.
No.
Nope.
Hello,
You
McFly.
got there's a share button at the bottom.
It's a share button.
See the bottom. Of
Oh,
the...
right. Oh, screen share. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Share screen. There we go. There we go.
While Dave's doing that, I can talk about my fiber story.
there we go.
I had.
Yeah, go on.
Too slow.
No,
No,
too
no,
slow.
go ahead. You
All right.
finish up.
Too slow.
You finish up.
Okay, so that can
Oh
I
man, the
can
nano
share
board. This
like
thing
that.
was so ugly. This thing was so ugly
Oh well,
and expensive.
no, it wasn't. No, I wouldn't say it was ugly.
I'm telling you right
Yeah?
now, Dave.
You
Objectively,
reckon
this
that's
thing
ugly?
is ugly.
Well, this one was sexier. This was the next generation. Okay.
No, they're all ugly. They're dev boards, but they're ugly. They're ugly dev boards. They look nice for dev boards, but they're dev boards, and the category is ugly. That's what I'm trying to say.
At the time, okay, they were. At the time, they were the Ducks Guts, right? Anyway, right. Anyway, the nanoboard. So it had an FPGA module here. So this thing in the middle, this was an FPGA module. So we designed various FPGA board, different types, different brands and types of FPGA boards. These were the peripheral boards, the PB boards as we call them, and we designed dozens and dozens of these to do different things. Like this one up here was an audio, this was an a compact flash back then, compact flash card reader. This one was a USB. What was that? God, I forget. I don't know. Maybe I designed that. I don't know. And anyway, you had a touch screen.
Is that a WizNet chip?
Anyway, I had an LCD over here. No, that wasn't around. We're talking the 90s here. So sorry, late 2000s. And yeah, and it had audio and VGA output and stuff. Anyway, and analog to digital converter inputs and stuff like this. Anyway, this was actually this was the NB2. Before the hardware group was the NB1, and that was designed, I believe, by Nick Martin himself, the founder of Altium. /Protel.
Here's the thing.
Protel.
You get all this stuff. It's
Yep.
all super custom. It's all designed. It's all supposed to be looking cool. And then you get this lime green terminal block on
Yeah,
here.
I
Like,
know,
what were you
I
guys
know,
thinking?
I know. Come on,
You
come
couldn't
on.
like call a vendor. You couldn't call a vendor and be like, how about black? And they're like, yeah, we've got black. Of course we have black.
Right. Anyway, there's the NB1.
Well, we're Phoenix Contact, so we have to have green.
right.
I'm sorry. It has to be the ugliest green you can possibly take. Olive drab, but good olive drab.
Yeah.
Mix in a little bit of lime, key lime, and then some vomit on top, and that is the Phoenix green.
Right. Anyway, there's the NB1. So that was designed by Nick and laid out by probably someone who was writing the PCB software at the time. Like they didn't have a hardware group back then, and but they had hobbyists. Like most of the I'd probably a lot of the programmers there were actually hobbyists themselves. Anyway, so they laid out that. So anyway, Nick decided that, we're going all FPGA, because this was when Altium decided in 2000, when they went public, to, become a public, when was it? I don't know. Anyway, sometime in the 2000s. They went publicly traded company, and then they changed the whole vision of the company. FPGA, he decided FPGA was the future. Everything would have, anything to see if they could, people just didn't know.
I'm just throwing shade with other people's comments
do it,
here.
please. Throw up the comments.
Great,
Yep.
great.
And and
You keep going. You
so
tell your stories.
so
I'm just
he
gonna keep watching the
decided,
screen
right?
going.
Because Nick Martin ran everything, right? It was a public company, but no, he iron fist. So famously, the company was pretty much Nick Martin, everyone else. It was a flat structure. It was like, technically there were managers, but it was like nothing went ahead unless Nick Martin said so. It's like, it's anyway. which can be good and bad. You know, it has its good points and has its bad points. But anyway, yeah, FPGAs was the future. Everything would have FPGAs in it. Microcontrollers, gone. FPGAs, everything, you know, it was so compelling that FPGAs were going to be the future. He bet the company on it. And and it developed actually some really good. Altium has really good FPGA support built in. It's really amazing. You can drag and drop FPGAs in, and they had hardware. They bought various companies.
Who brought this up? Who do I kick out of this chat?
This is great.
They got Dave.
Anyway,
they got Dave
because
on
it's a fascinating story. It's fascinating.
It's fascinating to you. This is a dev board from 10, 15 years ago.
No, but the whole vision of FPGAs is fascinating. They bet the whole they bet all of Altium on
I know.
it.
People can hear many shows about this and how it didn't work out.
Anyway, I'm going to complete my story, Chris. If I may.
Good Lord. Can you imagine the vision, if this vision came to fruition in the scenario we're currently in? They'd be like, oh, there's an FPGA in everything. And you'd be like, you know what? Everything in the world is shut down because you cannot buy a single goddamn FPGA right now.
It's the same thing. Yeah. Anyway, he thought it was so compelling that they bet the company on it, and they had C to hardware compilers. They bought a company, I can't remember the name, that did C to hardware compilers, and you could just write your C, it'd convert it to VHDL or Verilog or whatever, and it'd drop it in there, and it all worked really magically. It wasn't great for like really high-end projects and stuff like that, and it tied into all the vendor tools, so it installed, you know, the Xilinx tools and the Altera tools, and it would all seamlessly pull those in and use those in the background, and it was really cool technology, but it just didn't work. And so a PCB company made the PCB tool optional extra. I'm not kidding. This was their marketing at the time. You can go look it up. It was turning the world of electronics upside down was their marketing slogan. They had billboards in Silicon Valley, all over Silicon Valley. And it was like, the whole idea was that you could buy this board for $4,000, right? It was the world's most US dollars, I think that was. US, right?
Those are $2,005 too,
yeah. No, that was 2000, whenever. 2011 I left, so it was $2009.
$2010.
About 2010, roughly $2010. $4,000.
Yeah, those are post crash dollars.
And
so
and you could
really
buy
worth
this
a lot
on DigiKey, right? You could buy this on. We did a deal with DigiKey, right? They had 200 of these in stock at DigiKey. I actually remember the number. Oh, Chris has dropped again. So they had 200 of these NB2 nano boards in stock. So you bought this for $4,000. It came with a license.
$1,000 and
you're breaking up, Chris. Your audio is breaking up. Is Chris's audio breaking up? Yeah, Chris is breaking up. I think I'm still good to go. Anyway, so $4,000, and the idea was that you got a license to the Altium software, but it didn't include the PCB tool, right? It came with all the FPGA and software and compilers and everything else, right? Because the whole idea was that, why would you need that? You can just design your product using these modules. So the whole idea was that you could plug these modules into your product. You would never have to design a custom PCB again, or if you did, it'd just be a motherboard that held these modules, right? And we'd develop hundreds of these modules, and they'd do everything, right? And also at the time they went into modular PCB concept, so you'd never lay out a full board ever again. It was like your power supply, here's the mod, just take it from the library, drop it in, the actual layout, right? And it was like, and so that was the vision of Altium at the time, and it was like so wacky, like it was never going to work practically. So anyway, this was the $4,000 development board, and it didn't sell. I don't think a single person bought one from DigiKey, so I think DigiKey made us buy them all back, or they sent them all back, and we had to It was like, there were some people who bought them. There were other sales avenues as well. Like some people bought them and stuff. But it was basically, it priced itself out of the market. So then we developed the NanoBoard 3000. The NanoBoard 3000. Why is normally I've got a thing which pops up. Anyway, NanoBoard 3000, which was, this was $300. So this was like order of magnitude low. I think it was 300. And it was order of magnitude lower cost. And it was compatible with all the same FPGA boards. It was actually, did it? Oh, no, it had one built on. I thought you could, oh, God, I can't remember. It's been a decade now. Anyway, it used the same nanoboards and everything, and this was $300, and it also came with a license of the software, once again, with no PCB tool. So it was like, yeah.
I have to expect it to be coming back into like just you switching over to solar roadways or what else is on the greatest hits list?
Why not? Anyway, so it in the end it failed and they booted Nick from the company. That's another good story.
It's another story for another day. Yeah.
Yep, and poor old Nick, really nice guy. Felt sorry for him, but he ran Altium as his hobby company. And it was like, and his vision company. It was, even though it was a publicly listed company, which was supposed to make a profit. So, profit didn't matter. It was like, so nobody bought the $4,000. So I hereby claim to have helped develop the world's most expensive development board. Does anyone know of a more expensive development board than $4,000? I know there are. I know there are FPGA. Like you can ASIC development boards. You can get like in the 6-digit range, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars they're like huge. They're like this big and they've got like 50 like high-end FPGAs that are worth $10,000 per chip. And they've got like 50 of them on there. And you can buy them for like $500,000 or whatever I think they go up to. I can't remember the name of the brand. Somebody's going to put it in here. Any FPGA ultra scale board, So they're designed to simulate ASICs before you simulate them in an array.
No, ultra scale is not necessarily just that. You can buy like an ultra scale for that's military uses that sort of thing too. So they're just top end right now. Any kind of military.
FPGA. Anyway, you can there's companies that specialize in these ASIC development boards that have an array of FPGAs, so you can get so you simulate your ASIC. And it ties into all the ASIC tools, I guess. Software probably costs more than the hardware, and and you can simulate your ASIC before you turn that key to get your mask that costs $1 million or whatever. So those boards are more expensive, but not mainstream. What does Nick do now? I don't know what Nick does now. I don't know. He sort of dropped off there. He absolutely vanished. Signal Path is in the house. So, Dave, have you bought a Wi-Fi router cage yet to protect my health?
Just the underwear.
Greatest hits, all right.
Just the Wi-Fi safe underwear.
Just the underwear, just the the mesh shielded underwear to protect.
MeUndies is now doing chainmail.
It reminds me of the scene from not Mission Impossible, 11.
Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11. Is it Ocean's 11 or 12 or whatever, where he's, covering like this as the EMP goes off.
Don
He's
Cheadle's
like,
character.
he's pushing the button and he's covering.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I always love that scene.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so dodgy. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, watch our video on the EV Blog 2 channel with Sharia from the Signal Path, where we talk about this bullshit. It's great. Oh, and it's an amp hour episode too.
That's right. Yep.
Duh.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you want the video version, it's there. It's also available as video on the amp hour.
That's right. 553.
Straw poll. Can we do a straw poll? Do people like or want to watch a video version of the amp hour? Or should we just stick to audio? Because there are some subtle things that change when we do a video version. It probably doesn't sound as good to our podcast because we build up 10,000 what's our current subscriber count, Chris?
Yeah.
15,000?
Sure.
Something like that?
That's about right.
Yeah, it's about right, I think. And then we built that up on audio podcasts. So most people have just... Who gave Red Bull to Dave? No, this is just my usual self. Anyway, video is great. Yes, video. Less distraction while working. Video is good too. Yeah, because there are compromises. Because if we do video, we have to use a tool like this, and the audio is not as good. We do believe the audio is not going to be as polished from using StreamYard. And then and the interaction's different when we're looking and talking to each other. The interaction sounds different. It'll come across different.
I don't think it actually sounds any different. I listened to both.
No?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I know ones that I've looked at some we've done and I thought it sounded different.
I think the thing that's different is the, usually we don't edit the video. So like there's no...
Right.
There's no tightening up of,
Right. There's no right. Okay.
There's ways to
Yep.
make us sound slightly more intelligent, and this is and putting us on camera is not one of them.
Right. Yep. Audio is most
Speaking
important.
of, someone had asked earlier on, it was a student question, and now I've lost it. Oh, wow. Oh, we run out. The comments disappear past a certain point, so sorry about that. If there was a student who asked a question earlier, and I totally missed it, and I meant to put it on the screen, so if you...
Okay.
Yeah.
We do have audio recorded separately, or we can.
We do.
But it's just the style of the way we talk, I think. The interaction, I think, is different when you have video. I think there is some subtle difference there. Chris notwithstanding. He doesn't think so, but I think so.
Dave just isn't comfortable in video. That's what it is, folks.
Oh, yeah. No, after 2,500 videos, I'm just, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm at least 2,500 videos now, by the way, because I've got like 1,400 official, but I've got like actually 1,700 on my main channel because there's a lot that aren't numbered.
Sure.
And then my second channel has close to 800 or something videos. So
It's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
no, yep, nuts.
Next thing you know, Dave's gonna start putting cameras up in his house. It'll just be watch Dave live stream his life, and that's how we know we've reached the end.
It was a fleeting thought. It was a fleeting thought when I had my first child. Should we like stream our lives, like raising the kid, And it's like the Truman Show style.
Nope.
It's like, man, no,
Yeah.
not gonna happen. You managed to buy, David Saliba managed to buy a LaCroix 9314. Excellent. How much you
what
pay
is
for
that?
it? It's a scope.
Give me a little bit more than that. While you're looking that up, this is the question that was asked. What's more valuable as an undergrad, internship work experience or work experience at an electronics manufacturer wanting to be a design engineer? So that is the question that was asked before. Are they different things? I mean, I guess internship was probably a longer or shorter time period, right, than work experience. But I kind of think about internships are work experience, really.
I don't differentiate. I don't know what the differentiation is.
I think they're talking about like a year, like go and take a year maybe and work on like a line. I think honestly, it comes down to like how you present it too, right? So like if you only had 3 months to do an internship and you could like get some kind of project out of it that you could talk about in your next interview or that would look really good or be, the thing that's going to be catnip to the future recruiters, then do that, right? Or if you're going to get some kind of valuable experience or get to work with someone really great, like those are all the reasons to do these sort of things. If you're going to go and like be on a production line for 6 months and you're going to be turning a screw, it's like that's not worth it, even if it's on there. So.
Well, I guess it depends on your degree, doesn't it?
If you can go work in Shariar's lab, that would be the best thing. Yeah.
What they offer, like some of them will force you to do like to take a year off, take a year of your degree will be like or 6 months or whatever. They'll force you to go work full time. Others will go, no, it's only part-time work experience or something. Some won't even have it.
Yeah.
So it's like, although most degrees, most universities, colleges, for you Yanks, will give you the ability to pause your degree and then, or your diploma or whatever it is you're doing, and then go do a year's work experience and then come back and finish it. So that's always an option. Like even if the structure of your course doesn't actually force you to do some sort of internship or work experience, then you can still do it. You can just pause. You should just be able to pause, but but often there are a lot of people who pause and then never go back.
That's right. Yeah.
So once they get the sniff of the free world
and the money
and being free in the real world and shit, I don't have to study. Oh, this is great. And I get paid instead of paying them. It's like, Yep. Oh, Sharia. There you go. There you go. Go and work for Sharia. No, I don't. What is the behemoth Tesla made for the Dojo hardware? I have no idea what that is. You, Chris? Tesla behemoth? No? Dojo hardware?
I try not to pay attention to the antics of Tesla these days.
Right. Yep. I can do the robot. I swear he did that as a troll. I swear, like the guy's a master level troll. He just does it just to stir people up, and he gets a kick out of it. I'm sure, I'm absolutely sure of it. New system for crunching neural nets. Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Oh, that was they released some new silicon. Okay, I know what they're talking about now. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, yawn. No, I don't really have. Yeah, same, Chris. You're not really interested in AI.
I mean, I'm interested. And there's going to be huge impacts on us, I'm sure. It's just that
of course,
I have no capabilities
It's
there.
just,
so it's like, what am I going to talk about on here? It's like, computers.
Yep. When I was a boy, we didn't have IGBTs at this sort of level,
Yeah.
Back when I was working on high voltage stuff, it was hard to get a 500 volt transistor.
What?
It was like
4,500 volts?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Wow.
They're incredible. They're just insane.
Yeah.
Yep. Back when I was doing, 500-600 volt stuff, that like the limit was the semiconductors you could get.
Sure, totally.
Like,
how big? How big is the trench?
Yeah.
Actually, so you mentioned on another, I think one of your streams, you'd mentioned John Edmund, who was, remember the Cree guy?
Yes.
Yeah, that we had on here.
Yeah, Cree. Yeah.
I'm next to Cree now. That's where so I live in North Carolina now. So.
They're there,
fabs
are they?
down here. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You can go visit.
Yeah.
Knock on the door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. The types of industry that are down here and stuff like that too. Like it's very like medical heavy. So, that's not me.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be interesting.
There's an interesting question.
Yep.
Don't know if I've got an answer. As the show has grown, and as you've grown as an engineer, I kind of plateaued, I think. How have you reevaluated the tools at your disposal? Well, that's more a question for Chris, because he does active development, active product development, whereas I don't do that anymore, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the tools. I mean, so like on the firmware, software, toolchain side of things, like that stuff is way better than it used to be, I think. Even just, I was just talking, I was throwing some shade on Twitter the other day about VS Code, right? So like VS Code these days versus Eclipse. And Eclipse was like, yeah, but we got millions of downloads. It's like, I don't care. Eclipse is just like, like it's every old IDE is Eclipse based or whatever, but like just VS Code is like this open source, nice looking, pretty capable IDE that it's just it's not even IDE. It's just like a platform that you can build on top of. And like, it's just making development easier, right? And it used to just, Dave, you deal with it, right? It's just like you get the IDE that you get, and then you just work within that, right?
Yep.
And so,
I don't like to change. I like to stick with the same. If I learn an IDE or a CAD tool or any tool, I don't like to change. I still like to use it.
So Dave doesn't reevaluate. I do like doing that. I think.
Well, I do. Like, I'm always sort of looking, but in the end, I go, like, the equation, is it worth it? What value is it going to add?
Yeah.
And if there's not some compelling game-changing thing, then I'm not going to change.
Well, I think you gotta actively try new things though too. You gotta sample. You gotta try things out on.
Well, you can. It depends on if you've got the time and if you've got the time to do it. I
think that's worth it, right? Yeah. So that's
some people just ask Mike. Is Mike still in the chat? Like, he still uses
he mentioned he's using
old tools, right?
Yeah.
Because why change it? Does his job, and he's so busy that developing projects for clients that he couldn't care less about.
Well, we should ask someone else
here
what they think. So let's add Mr. John Oxford to the stream.
G'day.
Hey, what's up, John?
Hey, there we go.
Finally checked his DMs. He saw.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
That's all right. How you doing, man?
Really good. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome, mate.
Fantastic.
So how about you? Have you reevaluated the tools at your disposal, Mr. Smart House? Smart House.
I am constantly reevaluating, but I never seem to change. Okay. I find that I get stuck. It's that classic problem.
You keep finding the same answer over and over again. Is that the thing?
Yeah. Well, it's the classic problem that both of you talk about all the time, where when you're really familiar with something, the friction of changing to something else has that short-term pain, and overcoming that can be really difficult. So, CAD tools are the classic thing. I use Eagle
CAD
constantly,
tools,
and every now and then I will open KiCad and play around with it a little bit and just feel out of my depth, and nothing is quite what I expect. So I have to, it's going to be a real conscious effort to say, I'm going to take the performance hit for a while to overcome that, to change tools.
Yep.
So that's just what you've got to get through.
And it's not just changing tools, it's upgrading.
What if I booted him out as soon as he started saying, like, I'm an Eagle user, and I just booted him right out of here? I'm like, see you, John, you know?
Right, you see.
I'm gone.
It's like, no, as somebody who's worked at Altium, I know one of the biggest things that the salespeople kept telling everyone is that, like, we can't get these people to, like, it was easier to get people to change to Altium than it was to get people to upgrade to the next version of Altium. Like, they just wouldn't, they would stick with 99 SE, you know, and they just would not, oh, what's this summer winter bullshit? No, I'm not, piss off, you know, I'm not upgrading. It's like, no, Altium 20, piss off. I'm happy with, 2016 or whatever. It's like, they just wouldn't change because they were familiar with all the bugs and and quirks and everything, and it just worked. And it's a tool to get the job. At the end of the day, it's a tool to get the job done.
Yeah.
And if it does the job for you, why change?
Yeah. Well, this conversation, I think, started, you were talking about IDEs and software tools. And even after all these years, my preferred editor is Vim. And I just find that I can get around things quickly with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's its own.
Fine.
That's its own brand of crazy, you know?
Yeah, true.
Especially, but like, you have like a software background too, right? And didn't you do software for a while? And
about 20-something years.
Yeah. So that's, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a common thread, I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like when there's a new challenge you have to hit, or like a new chipset that comes out or something like that, like that's what I think about, like, yes, if you're doing if you're doing like a power supply layout and it's just, another spin of the same thing over again, then like, the same tool is going to be the same thing. I just feel like when you're into a new space, you're trying out new applications, sometimes you just gotta try out new things. So.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm just in the process of getting into a whole new thing, or new for me, which is FPGAs. And this came up earlier in Dave's rant about Altium. And so for the Open Hardware MiniConf, which is going to be on in January, the project we're doing this year is going to be based on Tim Ansell's work with the FOMU, which has got the UP5K FPGA on it. And for those who don't know, it's an FPGA board, which is so small it goes inside the USB port of a computer. So the actual PCB is like, that big. And it's got an FPGA on it. So, we're working with Tim's assistants to put together a project which is going to be a conference badge with the UP5K on it, based on the architecture of the FOMU. And that whole thing is totally new to me because I've never done any FPGA work before. Yeah. But getting into a new field is an opportunity to look for
and that uses open tool chain, right? And
it's a whole new tool chain and different things to learn.
Yeah, but it's not changing your.
No.
Well, it can add a tool to your arsenal.
That's right.
But it's not changing your actual bread and butter stuff. And here's an interesting question: do you think Altium and other EDAs should be worried about KiCad encroaching on their market share? Probably not. It's like as great as KiCad is getting, it's still not a pro level tool. Like, I know there are people who'll throw examples at me. Oh, look at this 10-layer board in KiCad and stuff like that. But unless you've worked in the professional, like the truly high-end professional PCB space, then it doesn't have the tools that you need. So I think it's a significantly long way off from challenging.
Dave's working from
Altium.
old knowledge, and yes, I think his old knowledge is correct. And we'll reevaluate once 6 is out. And,
Yeah, but you've Chris, you have never been a true high-end professional PCB designer.
Ooh. I'm just going to get the popcorn.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I do. What's the highest end? Sort of stuff. It's
All right,
No,
Dave.
no,
we
no,
don't need
there
to, we
are-
don't,
there
we
are
don't
big
need to start
differences.
slinging mud at 555.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Shots
We're
fired.
still Chris is still designing with 555s. Yeah.
Right.
Shots fired. Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations on episode 555. I just wanted to drop in and say hi.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for
Cool.
dropping in, John.
Thanks,
you
mate.
very
It's great to
much.
see you.
Appreciate it.
and I'll
Yeah.
talk to you
Cool.
both later.
And maybe if the lockdowns ever end, we'll catch up again.
Yes, we've got to meet up again in person. And
Yes.
Chris, if I see you again next time, I won't try to kill you with a drone.
Okay, good. Thanks. I was going to mention. Yeah.
Yeah, the drone that did that is sitting just on top of that bookcase up
Okay.
there.
It's been
You can't
it's been
quite see it.
retired. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might hit you in the head first now.
Maybe.
Yeah. Tie that thing down.
Cool.
Okay.
See you, John.
Cool. Thanks. See you.
All right. Thanks, John. See ya. Hey, that was a surprise guest. I didn't know he was
Pop
coming
in,
on.
man.
Awesome.
We got the pop in. Yeah, I've sent out a
got the
couple
pop
of
in. Yep.
Twitter DMs and see if others.
Yes.
And this is
Right.
this is starting to go on a little long here, so I'm getting towards my bedtime. But yeah.
Oh yeah, Yankee Land. It's only 10:43 a.m. here. Mm-hmm. we don't want to end the amp hour at 555 episodes. I don't know. It'd be fitting end, wouldn't it? I think we should call it quits now, Chris. What do you reckon? Just
Pull
like-
the
yeah.
Costanza, quit while we're ahead.
What?
Seinfeld,
George
George Costanza.
Costanza, yeah.
He would like leave a party before anything happened because he'd just be like one good joke and he was out,
Oh, right. I don't remember that episode. I've watched probably every one, but I don't actually remember that.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's been a while.
Dave Caddy's a real competitor. Yes. Totally. Yeah, but no, it's, with the KeyCAD thing, no, seriously, even if it was a pro level, like even if it had all the pro level features that the pro level tools have, which it doesn't, but even if it did, or even if it could, look, you can use KeyCAD for any PCB design you like, regardless of how high end is it. It's just
Gonna do this for a bit. Here we go.
no, it's shit. I could go back and use a tool from the 80s to do any PCB layout I want. It's just a matter of how efficient it is in terms of being able to do that. Anyway, so it's also the stigma of being a free tool. A lot of companies simply will not switch to it because they expect to have professional paid support available. They just won't buy into a free open source tool. They just won't do it. Simple as that. End of story. And regardless of how good it is and how good it gets. Unfortunately,
I'm not gonna probably trust you as the temperature of the market, but I'm sure you could post something on.
Here you go. No, what it requires, I'll tell you what it requires, okay? It requires it's a generational change thing.
I do agree with
right?
that.
So it's a 20-year thing. It requires a whole new
gotta
generation.
wait
That's
for
20
the
years
Altium
worth of
people to
engineers
retire.
to get into the market, and then they bring it into companies, and then it becomes once it's a de facto tool within a company, it stays that way.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But no, but even you've talked about basic stuff like, they change their file structure and stuff all the time, and it breaks things. Does it not?
Between major versions, yeah.
Can you import a KeyCAD file from 10 years ago?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. But you've got to import it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one way.
Or something?
It's a
Yeah,
pull forward. It's
it's
not
like-
a go backwards.
Got it.
But you can go and download the old one
Yep.
and try and get that booted
Yeah.
if you want to.
Whereas Altium, you can actually pull in newer versions into older software. Did you know that? Yeah, exactly. Right there. Right there is a feature KeyCAD doesn't have. And essential to a professional PCB designer, that's absolutely essential. Right?
This debate is just not that.
It's just not because you're such a fanboy of KeyCAD.
Well,
and look, I
It's not
love
a fan.
KeyCAD
I mean,
too.
yes, it's. I suppose I am a fanboy, but I feel like it's just. Like we've talked about many times on here before. It's it's a religion, right? That's the way to talk about
Oh, yes.
It's a religion.
It is a religion,
And
yes.
Dave and I pray differently.
Hey, I've got no loyalty to Altium. Let me tell you that, right? Yes, I've been using it I started out with Protel, right? Well, actually, I didn't start out with Protel. I started out with Keepic. Keepic was the guy's name. It was his last name. Can't remember his first name. Keepic, PCB design called PC Breeze. It was Australian software, but PC Breeze. I was actually going to do a video. I just thought about it recently. Going to do a video to see if I can still download that. You can download this shareware. It used to be shareware, if you remember shareware.
I remember shareware,
right?
Yeah.
It used to be, and then you can pay. You know, if you actually liked it, you can pay for it.
Send it to a PO box. Send a check.
Send in your $20. Yeah, send a check in. Send in a money order for those in Australia.
Yeah,
you know, money orders. You know, and, so yep.
Oh, that's nice. Put that up there, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to put that up. Yep.
No Medi.
So yeah, and I started out with PCB Breeze. You know, I've got no love. You know, I've got a love-hate relationship with Altium. So you know, it's not like I'm intensely loyal to Altium, but I have been a professional PCB designer, and I have worked at the company, and I do know the market, and I know the customers, and I know the and I know the companies that use these tools. It's like, you know, yeah, it's Dave's right though. There you go. I don't know what I'm right about. It's a generational thing. Things will change in a few years and another tool will come around and start the whole thing over again, just like Battlestar Galactica Universe.
Had me right to the end there, Raker. All right, I think I got to wrap up here, but
oh, you got to wrap up.
Yes.
Should I continue? I don't know. I'm kind of on a roll here. Should I continue, people, or should I call it quits?
I think maybe we start a new broadcast because we got to actually package this up as a podcast.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, I better go too.
Yeah.
Yep. And we'll keep it under 2 hours because then the YouTube's will doesn't have to process it.
Yeah.
If it's over 2 hours, it limits. It only processes the first 2 hours.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 555, man.
Cool. Yeah.
We made it.
Yep.
It's basically 11
Thank you
years.
very much.
Actually, it's
represent
a little bit more than 11 years here. So
11 years. Jeez.
Yeah.
Get less for murder.
Yep.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
Yeah. You said that in the first couple of years. I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know.
now,
I know.
like,
yeah.
I mean,
it's now genuinely you get less for murder. You know, you get less for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks to everyone who stuck around, who asked questions. We really appreciate that. Being part of the show.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll do maybe more of this in the future. Maybe I'll do a little better job of setting it up beforehand so people have the links beforehand. So appreciate everyone who showed up.
Although we won't be doing live ones, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, it's like live shows as a show.
Yeah, I mean this would pretty much be the extent of it, like a Q&A show once in a while.
Yep.
Yeah. This is more people showing up than we've had in the past.
Because we do know that most people listen to this as a podcast, and a lot of people said they like the 1 hour. They don't like it when it goes over too much because they design their their workout or whatever, or their drive to work or whatever around a 1 hour episode. Mm-hmm. So it's So we are conscious of that.
The amp hour
so
keeps going. They have to circle the block a bunch, and it's just
exactly.
Really...
They've got to sit outside their house and listen, keep listening.
I've done that
in
before,
the car
actually.
or whatever Right? Yeah. I've done it too. Yep.
I don't think they're doing it for us, but
no.
If you do, and you've been in your car for 50 minutes, I'm sorry. Go inside, have a cup of cocoa, and we'll apologize somehow.
Cool. Anyway, thank you very much
for
joining us.
See you soon.
Catch you next time.